Hello, welcome to our second instructional video for JuniorMaker kit. I'm PaulTheMaker. I'm here with my son James, my little JuniorMaker.
Hello.
And we're going to work on, what are we working on? A squirrel feeder picnic table kit. So James is going to introduce us to all the parts that come with the kit. First off is all the hardware that we need. Where's the hardware, James?
Here.
Okay, all the screws. There's a bunch of medium-sized screws. There are 3 longer screws and 1 short screw. So make sure you pick the right screws, and I'll describe as we go. Next is the backer plate, which is the piece with the PaulTheMaker logo on it. Next is the tabletop of the picnic table. Next are the 2 benches, so the seat pieces. The next one is just a support piece for the backer. So that's that one, that's right. Then the 2 longer pieces are the bench supports, those 2. Then there are 2 pairs of legs. You'll see the holes in them are slightly different. So there's 4 legs in all. We'll get to that first. Okay, so James, I want you to pick up well, first we'll find the 2 legs that we need. You'll see one pair of the legs has a hole on one side close to the end. And if we look at the other ones, these ones only have a hole in one side and it's not close to the end. These ones have a hole close to the end and a hole near the middle on the other side. So we want these 2 legs, so hold on to those. And the back support piece, I need to select, yeah, that's that one. The rest of the things we're just going to move out the way for now. Okay, so set those on the table, James, and you're going to grab 2 medium-sized screws, and the only tool you need is a number 2 Robertson bit. That's a square bit screwdriver, which James has here, and he's going to start off by just putting the screws in by hand into this support piece. Just a sec, James. And you notice one side has the holes countersunk. So that just means there's an extra little divot in it where the head of the screw is going to go. This side doesn't have them. So you're going to start them in from that side, just in these 2 outside holes for now. Okay, James, so put those 2 screws in. Just start it by hand first, just a turn or 2, just to get it started. And then you can use the screwdriver to finish up. Now these we're just going to put through enough that they're just sticking through. So make sure you don't have your hand here, because you'll screw it into your own hand.
That would hurt.
So just keep an eye as you're screwing it through on the other side to see when it starts to poke through. That's enough, or even a tiny bit too much. And you back it up just a little tiny bit. Yeah, I'm going to hold it up just to show about that much is good. Okay, back this one out a little bit as well, I think. There. Okay, then this we get tricky to kind of figure out which way these go. We need the holes are going to be at the bottom of the bench, which you're going to have pointing towards you on your table, and there. So the holes towards the near the bottom of the leg will be pointing up and towards you, and these 2 points will be touching. Then we're going to put this piece on the top, and we're going to line up those screws that are just pointing out with those legs. Now James has that upside down. See how the corners don't match? This will basically match up the corners. So he's got that one lined up. I'll hold it for him. Let's just leave that one, and we'll put this one in first. So it's much easier with someone else helping and holding it for you. We're just going to tighten that down till it just starts to get tight, not too tight, a little bit more. See, it's still really loose. We want it so that we can turn it, but it's, you know, it doesn't flop around. Okay, then this one, again, you were just lining up the tip of that screw with the hole. I'll hold it flat on the table, and James can screw it in. As he's doing that, your helper can make sure that these tips here, you can adjust it as he's screwing it, just to make sure they line up. Whoops, I knocked it. That's it, and then start to tighten up, honey. Okay, it's nice and lined up, so get it, tighten it up. Okay, that's good. Then the other one. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to flip this over and get one of the bench support pieces. That's these longer ones. Again, there's holes in it that are countersunk. This one's in the side, so the side that has the angles. You're going to put the screws in these countersunk holes. Grab 2 screws, start them in through those holes, please, James. And again, just use the screwdriver to screw them in until they're just sticking out the other side. So keep an eye on the other side. That's good. Next one. Okay, then you gotta make sure we get this on the right way up. So it's actually this way. So this is going to be where the top of the table is, and the longer edge of our bench support is going to be pointing up. So towards you on the camera right now. So then just line up those screws with the holes on these legs. And I will hold it for James and he'll tighten these ones down. Keep it just snug first. And then once we double check that we're nice and level and aligned here, then you can tighten them down. Okay. Good. That's the first assembly done. Put that to the side. Now we need the other 2 legs and the other bench support. Okay, so the bench support, the same thing. You're going to put the 2 screws in. To start, the medium length screws again. And while James is doing that, I will arrange these legs. Again, it's a little tricky. We've got to make sure we get it right. So there's a hole in one side. There's also the hole in the top, but there's a hole in one side. And it's closer to one edge than it is one end than it is the other. And it's that shorter distance one that we want pointing towards you. So see how there, the hole is close to that edge, so I've actually got to flip this piece around. So then they'll be at the same height. And that's what we're then going to line up with these 2 screws once James has those in. Have you got those screws just pointing out? Yeah, working on it. Okay. Then again, the longer edge of this bench support will be pointing away from you on your table. And we're going to line up these screws again with these holes. You can pick it up and do this one at a time if you like. Let's do that. Do it one at a time, it's easier. Don't worry about the angle right now, because we're not going to do it super tight yet. Okay, and okay, you can line up that one, James. Okay. Okay, before you tighten up, now we have to line this up. So we just have to adjust them until the 2 points here are touching, and this is level at the top. And then probably a good way to hold it is just press down here. And that holds everything. Now, James, you can tighten these screws, please. Just check. See, that's still a little bit loose. Go back to this one, please, James. Just tighten that up a bit more. Okay, let's try that. A little bit of wiggle room. Well, we'll tighten up just a touch more. A little bit of wiggle doesn't matter. Once it's all together, it'll be super strong. Okay, So next we want the 2 bench pieces. So if you find the 2 bench pieces, James. Yeah, the seats of our bench. And you're going to put in 4 screws in those. Yeah, I'll help you here just so we can get this video moving. Just to help you get them started. Okay, just use the screwdriver. You need to. Okay, then put in the screwdriver. Some of the holes on this kit are a little looser because James has practiced a couple of times putting this together, so some of the holes are a little looser and easier to put the screw in. Okay, they're just showing through. Good. Then we need to get our 2 table leg assemblies and figure out which way to put them. Now, the bench supports will be pointing inwards to each other. So then we have to line up. Then this bench piece, you'll see these holes are closer to this edge than they are to this edge. So this edge is one that's going to be closer to where the table will be. And that will make it line up with the hole. So we can just line up one at a time. We'll line up this screw here with this hole here and hold it at 90 degrees. Again, if it's not exactly, it doesn't matter right now, because James is just going to put this in while I hold it. And we're not going to do it super tight yet, so we don't need to worry about the angle just yet. Okay, that's good. Then we'll line up the other one. Remember the bench supports pointing inwards to each other. Then we'll just line up this one. Okay, James, you can put the screw in there, please. Okay, that's good for now. Then we can flip it around, get our other bench seat that already has the screws in, and we'll then we'll line this up. This one, we're going to line them both up at the same time. Like that. There. Okay. Then we're going to make sure the whole thing is square. See how we could do this? Make it all squish. We're going to make it so that everything is at 90 degrees and square. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it will help these holes line up a little bit. Now we can tighten these 4 bench screws down. Okay, that's good. We don't want to over tighten and split the wood. Unless we end up with some really fat squirrels, this is going to be plenty strong enough. Excellent. Next we need the tabletop. So grab a tabletop, James. Now this, if you're going to attach like a corn on the cob to this table for the squirrels to feed on, this is where we've used one of the optional longer screws. So, and it's going to go through the middle hole. Now which side does it go through from?
This side.
No.
This side.
How do we know it's that side?
Because it's countersink there.
Right, because this hole here has the countersink in it. So I'll go through from this side. Okay? And actually this screw has to go all the way through, because this will be what you screw the corn on the cob onto. And don't do what James is doing here and screw it into your leg, because that would really hurt.
It's hard. I can't do this. I
Okay,
can't get it.
okay, I can help with that one. I think it's trickier just because it's a longer screw, it's a bit wobblier. Oops. So that's screwed all the way through. Okay, then we need 4 medium screws, which are going to go through the tabletop. Through these 4 holes. Here, I'll help you, James. Oh, that's one of the long screws. Your medium screw. There we go. And again, these are going through, so they're just pointing out the bottom. I think James is using his finger to feel, but you just got to be careful you don't screw it into your finger because these screws are very sharp. And this is probably the trickiest step because we have to kind of line up all these 4 screws with these 4 holes. Now there's a few extra holes in here just because we've done this kit a few times practicing. If they don't line up perfectly, it doesn't matter. It's just got to be close. And there, I could feel that they all went into place, and looking from the different ends, it looks good. I'm keeping squeezing here.
I think I just saw one that wasn't quite in.
No, but I did just notice something we need to pay attention to. This tabletop actually has a hole in one end. Right there. And that hole needs to be on the same side that we have this extra support piece. Remember, on this side we don't have a support piece. So the hole in the tabletop, same end as this, and then we need to line it up again. So that is all lined up. Okay, can you get those screws in, please, James?
Can this one go in all the way?
Just do them all 4 snug to start with, not super tight yet. As that went in, just a second, I felt this wiggle a little bit, that's good. Just nice and smoothly. Okay, and the last one.
And this one can just go all the way in.
Well, I'll just do it snug to start with, because then we're just going to look underneath just to make sure everything lines up right before we do everything super tight. Okay, then we'll just look, everything lines up here, the tops of the legs line up, got the holes in the right end, good. We can tighten all those up. Excellent. Then the last step is the back plate. And this, now we're going to use our last medium screw. And there's a shorter screw in there. So the shorter screw needs to go through this hole, one in the middle at the bottom, again from the side that has the countersink. Okay, so the short screw in there, James, and the longest, the medium length screw in here. And again, just pointing through the other side of the wood. Just pointing through, and this one just pointing through. Okay, then this one's a little bit trickier to line up as well. With the logo at the top, it's basically going to sit on the back of the table here. We need to line up that screw with the hole in the end of the table, and this screw with the hole in the support piece, right there. Okay. Good. Tighten them both up, please. Great. That's it. And then your kit also comes with 2 extra long screws. You have 2 in there, James? You do. Which you can use through these holes to mount it to your fence or to your shed or whatever or to a tree, whatever you're mounting your squirrel picnic table. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fun time building your little picnic table. Don't forget, you can contact me anytime. You can email me at paul@paulthemaker.ca, or find me on Facebook as PaulTheMaker, or on Instagram at PaulTheMaker. If you have any questions or any trouble with your kit, don't hesitate to get in touch. Thanks very much, and thank you, James. Bye.